Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Downward Day. I'm here in Austin at the Futo headquarters. The smell of Louis Rossman is lurking. He's probably going to call the cops on me again. He's gonna have me arrested for even being in here. But I've come here today with the Kino Corner because I've got something I've got to get off of my chest. 2 weeks ago at the Creator Clash, I and a party of several other YouTubers went to watch the Mario movie, and I'm fired up. I must say this, Kino, the critics, they're wrong. They're wrong about this. The critics, all these people online saying the critics are wrong, they're correct. And that's because the critics were not harsh enough. This movie is one of the sorriest excuses for media I have ever seen, and I will not tolerate it anymore with all these self-elating Nintendo fanboys blowing smoke up this movie's ass.
There's construction in the background. He asked me if the audio was fine, and then I was like, yeah, but all they'd been doing was walking around. Now he's doing nailing.
You know, I don't care. I don't care. This needs to be heard. I need to be heard. I'm tired. I'm tired of people treating this movie like, oh, there's nothing wrong. It's fun. I had to get in arguments with all my YouTube compatriots after this movie, trying to justify to me that, oh, it's not that bad. No, the critics were not harsh enough. The Mario movie needs to be made an example of as a completely mediocre, unimaginative piece of crap film that should not be celebrated.
Well, I didn't think it was that bad.
We are massive Nintendo haters here on the channel. It's a bad day for Nintendo. It is a bad day for Reddit. When I turn on the camera and open my mouth, Kino,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts? Okay, let's play devil's advocate, okay? Mario advocate.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was like kind of forgettable, but I didn't hate it. I was like, okay, for 90 minutes, I don't know. Somebody else bought my tickets, so I didn't spend any money on it. And I was like, oh, for 90 minutes, this is fine. You know, for a children's movie or whatever,
Yeah, it's
this
fine.
is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It is Coco Melon the movie. It's fine.
I just thought it was fine.
It's for kids. It's fine.
No, like, it's obviously not, like, as far as, like, movies for kids, it's nowhere on the level of, like, WALL-E or The Wind Rises or, you know, my favorite children's movie I love to show every kid, Watership Down. Not quite on that level. I thought it was, like, just a meh movie. Like, I didn't think much of it. After leaving it, I honestly kind of forgot a lot of what happened, and I totally get that. Like, the whole movie essentially is like an advertisement for all the different Mario related products. You know, because you have I'm not like a big Nintendo guy.
Right, yeah. When I watch a movie, I definitely want to watch an ad for my $12 movie ticket. I want to watch an ad for Nintendo products.
I paid $0, so I got all the ads. That's what happens when you don't buy YouTube Premium. You get all the ads.
I'm so tired of people giving movies pass because they put in a reference. Oh, they had the Tanuki tail from Mario 3. I'm such a nerdy, geeky gamer, forgetting that they put in the Tanuki tail.
Yeah, I got the Funko Pops.
Yes,
I went out. I went out
Pops from this
immediately. Immediately, I rushed to the nearest GameStop and bought as many Mario Funko Pops as I could.
I was trying to bring Soylent into the movie, but I couldn't find any. Like, there's too much soy consumption. They were sold out in all the stores. I tried to do the gag of drinking Soylent at the Mario movie. That was my whole idea. Couldn't find any, but whatever. I got my dose of soy anyway, and
yeah,
I'm not too happy about it.
Well, you got the media soy. You got the virtual soy. That's what happened. Is so okay. So what are the different? Because I'm not a big Nintendo guy. Like I was one of those PC Master Race guys. You know, at that, like when I was a kid, you know, I was playing like Quake and Doom and Wolfenstein and Deus Ex and Thief. And then I think my first console was the Xbox, so I could play Halo. But I never had a Nintendo machine. I only ever played the Mario movies. I only ever played all that stuff like when I was over at my friends' houses. But I recognized like what they had Smash Brothers and Donkey Kart and Mario Kart and Mario.
Super Mario.
Super Mario.
video game. Video game movies don't tend to be good.
I have a video. I
It's
have a video on that on my channel. My video game movies suck.
oh sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I could link it below even.
Yeah, that's why I brought actually my favorite video game movie of all time, the Super Mario Brothers movie. This is actually what I thought we were going to be talking about, the one with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo and Dennis Hopper.
I haven't seen that one. I've heard it's really bad.
It's terrible.
I would rather watch that again
well,
than the travesty I was just exposed to.
you might want to watch. You might want to watch it before you say that.
Oh no,
it's really bad.
Look, I don't care if it's bad in execution. I admire at least the slightest bit of ambition. I don't want the slurry of gray matter poured directly into my mouth or just studio sludge. Zero risks. This movie took zero risks.
Oh yeah, there are no risks in this film. Yeah, I mean it was definitely just like designed by Nintendo for Nintendo fans. To basically give you like,
oh, I recognize that thing, and then 5 seconds later, oh, it's the other thing. It's the ice flower from Mario Wii. No way, I'm so exclusive for playing this game that sold 100 million copies.
Yeah, and you know what? But you know what pissed me off the most? No Waluigi and no Wario.
Oh
right?
yeah, I'm sure they're saving that for the 17th sequel.
Yeah.
On this franchise that they're going to be. It's like, I'm so sick of movies like that. And this comes from my hatred for Star Wars. And yes, I'm talking about Star Wars again. It bears repeating. It absolutely bears repeating.
Star Wars started getting bad at Return of the Jedi. That is a cold stone fact.
But it didn't bottom out.
It didn't bottom out.
Until Rise of Skywalker, which is, hey, I'm seeing double. I've seen this movie before. Just throw 10,000 references at the movie with your completely threadbare plot, which sounds like it's written by a toddler. I mean,
that was The Force Awakens too. Like it was basically like a weird kind of just remake of A New Hope, and it was all like
just no imagination.
Remember the Millennium Falcon? Oh,
committee filmmaking.
We're on this desert planet. Oh look, it's the Millennium Falcon. Oh look, it's a Death Star, and then they have to say it's not the Death Star. It's much bigger than the Death Star. And it's like, it's still the Death Star. Like plot-wise and everything-wise, it's still the Death Star.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want a glimpse into our AI-generated future, this Mario movie comes off to me like it was written by AI.
Well, you know what's funny that you say that is that Joe Russo, I think that's his name, one of the Russo brothers, recently caused a little bit of a stir on Twitter because he said he's looking forward to AI-created movies. And of course, the guy that makes Avengers films would love AI-created movies. I mean, but Marvel already feels like it's written by an AI, like it's all just template writing anyways. And Mario is definitely very template writing when it comes to the hero's journey.
It's not just that. It's like
you can market like you can literally market like minute by minute of like it's a very template movie.
God, like Marvel dorks gave like Martin Scorsese, right, a lot of flack for saying how movies these days are designed like roller coasters.
Yeah.
But this is not even like a roller coaster because I didn't find it exciting at all. This was like It's a Small World, where it's slowly taking you through on a conveyor belt past all the familiar sights and sounds, and it's just like point A to point B.
Yeah.
There's no subversive anything. There's no like they didn't do anything.
They needed to get
unique
Ryan
with the
Johnson
source
to direct
material. Like to give a point of comparison for all these people saying, "Oh, it's for kids. You got to give it a pass." So like Wreck-It Ralph actually told like a compelling story about video games, and they used elements of video games and made it into an interesting plot. And they used licensed video game characters, although Ralph was an original character creation. When I see something adapted, I don't want to just have it be reminded of a visual diarrhea of all the sights and sounds from the games that everyone's already played. I want you to do something new. I want you to do something interesting with the characters and not just have it like, it's Mario, it's Luigi, it's Peach, it's Bowser. Remember all the characters from the games? No. I'm just so sick of movies that just the pandering and nostalgia and just having familiar sights and sounds and references to get the monkey brain audience to go, oh, look at the screen, it's the thing I recognize, it's the Hammer Bro. Who knows about the Hammer Bro? I do. I recognize it. I'm a smart Redditor for recognizing it. I'm sick of movies using the inclusion of references as somehow a substitute for even a somewhat interesting plot. Because the plot, it's a boring movie. It is a boring movie. I don't understand how you could take a world as whimsical as Mario and make it boring, but they did.
I, for one, love the references. I laughed every time I saw something I recognized.
Did you point at the screen and
I was
open your mouth as wide as it can possibly go?
Actually, I didn't point at the screen because that would imply the motion of pointing. I kept my hand like this.
Oh, the entire film.
And actually, it was so like just physically exhausting that my jaw just like hurt for like a week after from soiling out.
You got to open the Soylent like Popeye.
Yeah.
And pour it in an arc into your mouth and go ding, ding.
Yeah, and I was just like the whole time with my
5 seconds. Yes.
with my friends next to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
A reference, another reference. Yes, this is what filmmaking is. Take me on the conveyor belt through the wall of references. Nothing actually has to happen. Nothing has to happen in the movie. I just want to see characters rendered in like high graphical 3D on the big screen. That's all I need to like a movie. And it's for kids, so you can't criticize it either.
I want to also point out that, as I said, I don't hate it nearly as much as you do.
Massive hater here.
I
admit,
like,
you want to
just-
call me a
I
hater?
just-
I am a hater. I hate what movies have become. I hate that I had to sit in the theater in The Rise of Skywalker and get that visual diarrhea in my mouth for 2.5 hours, however the hell long these directors want to pad out the runtime of these movies to. I hate what movies have become, and Mario is no different. Just because it's my childhood whimsical. No, it's time to leave Neverland. Nintendo people, eat your heart out. You can eat your heart out listening to me right now, just like how I had to suffer through the slop that you people have made tolerable. You people go 96% audience score. Oh, it's great. I definitely knew to trust the audience score from Rise of Skywalker. You guys definitely know what you're talking about more than the critics. Normie Nintendo Joe knows more than professionally paid critics, who they got it wrong too. They didn't go hard enough, but they were a hell of a lot closer to the truth about this movie than any of you Soylent drinking, Funko Pop consuming Nintendo fanboy losers.
I think it really just comes down to like fanboys just kind of being generally annoying and just gobbling up whatever corporate slop is given to them. But I want to just say that, I wasn't bored with the movie. Like, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Like, nothing was like...
Sounds kind of boring to me.
I mean, I thought that, some of the... Like, I actually kind of liked Chris Pratt's voice, just using the Brooklyn accent and not going with, like, the Mario voice the whole time, because that would have been really grating to me. And but I do want to give a point of criticism. People were just, like, going on about how Jack Black's song in it was so good, and the theater was just like erupting in laughter, but all he's really singing in there is just saying peaches. And I didn't think that the song was necessarily that like creative or anything. It didn't, as far as like movie songs go, or just as far as songs go.
I couldn't even judge the performances that much. I wasn't really blown away by anyone, but just the material and direction is incredibly flat. It felt like none of the actors were actually allowed to inflect on anything other than just being like a basic like little Looney Tunes cartoon character. And I understand it's Mario. I'm not looking for dramatic performance of the year, Oscar performance from Mario, but the writing of this movie, it was so bland. It was like, we got to make sure that everyone knows what's going on, so we're just going to slow it down. We're going to have the character throw a blue shell and announce verbally blue shell like I've got closed captioning on. It's just like...
Well, Zoomers, man. Zoomers need those subtitles and whatever. So, Emp, I want to ask you a question. So, if you were to make a Mario movie, let's say Nintendo, Illumination, whoever, came to you and said, we want you to make a a Mario movie, what would you do?
Well, I would make Hotel Mario the movie, the greatest Mario game of all. Hotel Mario.
I don't know that game.
It's where it's the CDI cutscenes that are used in YouTube poop of Mario saying, "Nice of the princess to invite us over for a picnic, gay Luigi."
Gay Luigi?
And they just clip it there and then just use the solo phrase "gay Luigi."
Yeah. Oh, that was something that was a reference. So I was waiting for one reference in the Mario movie, and I did not get it, and I was very unhappy about this. Where at the end he didn't say "So long, gay Bowser." Do you remember?
Oh yeah,
because it wasn't Mario 64. I don't know. I just know that it was like a meme video of.
Oh yeah, Mario. But that's because Mario's gone woke, and they went on the Rainbow Road. There's like people like politically posturing over the Mario movie. Why?
It's so dumb.
It's like, what is the political significance of the minions?
Yeah.
Like this movie's like on minion level of like discussion and like actual political significance, and people first they were like, wow, Mario's gone woke, they added the Rainbow Road they're making a statement on pride, but then they're like, Mario saved the West because Princess Peach was not that much of a girl boss that we saw.
Yeah, so now it's a right-wing movie.
I don't like this culture.
Yeah, it's like, it's gone woke, but now after watching it,
I don't like Mario being used for political posturing.
There's nothing political about the movie at all. It's literally like this Fantasyland thing of the whole movie comes down to Bowser and his like little evil minions are taking over these different worlds or something, and he's in love with Princess Peach.
It's the same as the games, like, and I don't want to see. Everyone knows the story about the games. It's intentionally simple because the original game came out on like a cartridge that's like 64 kilobytes. Of course, it's simple. Tell me something more. Do something more with the source material.
Also, the games are more about the gameplay than they're about the story. Like the story is like, as far as like the Mario games,
the story is like basic objective. Now here, jump through all the literal hoops to go get there.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the platforming gameplay, and when they have the platforming in the movie, they do their best, I think, to try to like make it exciting, but it's still not going to be as exciting as you actually doing it yourself.
It's like, did we really need to tell the story in cinema of Bowser kidnapping Princess Peach again and Mario having to rescue her? Wouldn't it be nice to like tell, I don't know, something a little bit more original? Everyone knows the story of Mario.
What if like maybe the story should have been that Peach is actually in love with Bowser, and Mario is like this weird like stalker guy and obsessed with her, and
that would have been better. That would have been something.
Yeah.
That would have at least taken the formula and turned it on its head a bit, rather than just.
But it's not. You're not going to do that.
Everyone already knows.
You're not going to do that in like a G or PG rated like kids film though.
But I mean, like Wreck-It Ralph told a good story that was like pertinent to like conceptually the idea of video games, and that was like G. That was PG.
It was PG. Yeah.
I don't want to hear these excuses about it's for kids, so it has to be the most threadbare, like pointless plot of all time.
No, I'm just saying that you're not going to have like the main character be like a psycho stalker in a kids film. But like
it
my
would have been
idea.
better if they did that.
It might have been better, but
I'm tired. I'm just so tired of mediocrity. Mediocrity to me is worse than a film like trying something ambitious and then failing in execution. I would rather watch like a bad movie. Like I'd rather watch like something like The Room than just like complete mediocre sludge that makes me feel nothing.
Well, I think that to get away from the mediocre sludge, you just have to watch movies that don't have a budget of like $100 million.
It's ironic, isn't it? All that money, and you just make it the same as everything else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, but it makes sense. It especially makes sense in the case of like video game movies. So when you look at a lot of films, like even somebody like James Cameron still has like a lot of creative control over his vision. But when you're making a video game movie, you have the studio illumination telling you like this is what you have to do to kind of be in line with our studio, and then you have Nintendo, another corporation that's like you have to do this, the characters have to look like this. Yeah, you have to
make a 90-minute advertisement for our products.
Yeah, and you know that when you make media for like companies, they have all sorts of notes. There's like whole books, like marketing books about like how you can portray certain characters. Yeah, the do's and don'ts. And And so it's really restrictive, and I think that's a big reason why
it's not a creative exercise.
That's why I feel like video game movies typically are not that good, because you don't just have the studio to deal with. You have a whole other mega corporation, whether it's Nintendo or Ubisoft or whatever, that's like saying you have to do it like this, you have to do it like this, you have to do it like this, and like you have to be on brand, and that's just kind of so you're more restricted than like another kind of movie. Like even novel adaptations, you can be like Kubrick and totally just change everything in The Shining, and you still make a good movie.
It was a vacuum of creativity. It's like, go through the motions, put in this reference every 35 seconds, and then Peach gets kidnapped. The same story as the games, the same story everyone already knows. So they save the day at the end. Bowser gets defeated. Just, you didn't have to make this movie to tell this story. This is just like the most sorry excuse for an adaptation. Movie. But I mean, okay,
they had to make it to make money.
My response to that is I liked Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu, I thought, was good in the first half and really fell off in the second half. I was arguing because like I was the massive hater coming out of the movie. I immediately made it. I was like, everyone was like, I liked it. I was like, I did not. I consent. I don't. And I told them like Detective Pikachu was much better. And they're like, no, Detective Pikachu sucks. I was like, no, Detective Pikachu did something at least different from like what's presented in the mainline Pokemon games. Yeah.
It was much better than if it was just like, oh, I'm Ash, I'm Red, I gotta go through and defeat all the 8 gyms and defeat the rivals. Like, we already know this story.
Yeah, we already saw the anime. It does not
need to be adapted. You're just like, you're presenting what's already there in the game, but with like shiny 3D graphics. I actually like Detective Pikachu because they told a unique story, and it wasn't the best film. It wasn't the most memorable. And it was still like kind of a by the numbers basic thing, but they told a different story at the very least. And the art direction was different than what you'd expect from the Pokemon games.
Yeah. My big gripe with Detective Pikachu, I thought it started off really strong. I like the noir atmosphere and how it integrated Pokemon into like a kind of almost cyberpunky vibe. But then in the second half, it becomes basically a Marvel movie. But it still has more creativity than like a lot of these video game adaptations.
It took risks.
Yeah.
It did. And maybe that's why it was generally disliked, and why they're probably not going to make another one, and why they're just going to make 10 more Marvel movies, because they played it safe. They played it safe to put in the references and get the 96% audience score, and it's probably made $1 billion by now, more than Detective Pikachu, more than the Sonic movie, and they're just going to make 1 million more of them. So they
ready.
They got what they wanted.
Strap in.
I didn't. Everyone else did, but I have the right. I have the right to sit here and be a hater and tell you that this is not okay. It's not okay to be passable, to be mediocre. I don't like it. I'd rather a totally crappy movie that fails in execution, but at least they had an idea of something interesting to go than just like complete corporate sludge that just takes me through the It's a Small World ride, a completely controlled, completely creatively deprived experience where the filmmakers were not allowed to take any risk whatsoever.
Well, you also have the right to not buy a ticket to the next one, unless you want to rant about it on a Downward Diary.
I had to go. I had to go so I could make this video, because I wanted to make this video, but I couldn't like talk about the movie without seeing it, because they were like, oh, if you want to see it, give it a chance. I gave it a chance. I gave it as many chances as I could have, and this is how I feel. This is how I feel. All you people want to complain about the critics. The critics were a hell of a lot closer than you. I will never trust the audience score on any movie, and I will sometimes trust the critics. Their judgment is better than yours. Stop pretending like you know better. Stop pretending like you're suddenly the big film buff. You're suddenly the Kino Corner over here, and your opinion matters more than these critics.
I would just say just don't trust Rotten Tomatoes, because have you looked at the who's the verified critics on Rotten Tomatoes? I mean, Doug Walker's on there.
Doug Walker, he gave the Mario movie a good review. People like Doug Walker are the people preventing this movie from getting the critic score that it should have, that it deserves.
Yeah, I would say just don't trust. I hate this discourse of like, oh, you see, the audience loved it, the critics hated it, the critics are so out of touch, or it's like the critics love it and the audience hate it. It's like that doesn't even mean anything. This is like people's subjective experiences about this. And yeah, critics generally.
That's my argument. The critics get stuff wrong all the time, but they're a hell of a lot closer to the truth than any of you bozos out there who go out and buy 50 Funko Pops, and your assessment of quality for a movie is the number of references haphazardly jammed in there.
Well, it's also like it's the difference between people who've seen like tons of movies and probably have a good background and maybe have studied film.
They
and
know
then
the basic elements required for good filmmaking, which obviously the Mario viewers do not.
Well, I mean, I think that a lot of the Mario viewers just haven't seen that many movies, and you'd be surprised. Like, I know a lot of people that have been like, maybe I've seen 100 movies in my whole life, and then they'll say like, but I know a good movie when I see one, and I'm like, okay, well, if you haven't really seen that many, like, you're obviously your world is not very large.
It's okay. Hanging out with Kino Corner, I'm getting exposed to more Kino. My taste is imperfect still, but it's a hell of a lot better.
Oh, my taste is weird. I like, and I'll
you and
admit
I
that.
generally agree on which movies are good.
Yeah,
and
we
which
generally
are not.
agree. Yeah.
So there must be something to that.
Yeah.
And I would definitely rather watch Gummo 100 times than that awful, just complete deprivation of imagination that was on display in that Mario movie.
Yeah. I know. I've seen the Mario movie once. I've seen the Gummo movie more than once. So that says everything, I think.
And if you're interested in my thoughts on Gummo, which I watched last night at the time of recording this, you can head over to the Kino Corners channel.
We're shooting these at the same time.
Yes, I will relay my thoughts on this, and you will hear what it looks like when I actually have good things to say about a movie, which is not the case with Mario. Mario movie, certified rotten. I don't care how many shills, how many Doug Walkers they got to inflate the score to try to make it fresh after the fact. This is a rotten movie. Don't you believe anything else?
I will say this: the Super Mario Brothers movie, I do not recommend.
I would rather watch that. I would rather watch that again. All right. Well, this has been the Downward Movie Review. Do you have anything? What's a film term that starts with D that I can use?
Diegetic.
Downward Director.
Downward Director. Downward Directors.
This has been the Downward Directors, and all you Mario-loving Nintendo fanboys. You can get mad. You can get mad. It won't even be close to the amount of hostility I felt watching your piece of crap movie in that theater.
So invest in GameStop and buy Funko Pops. This is not financial advice. Just if you're really soy, that's what you'll do.
Invest in Illumination. Invest in Disney. Invest in Marvel.
Hey, Illumination is a French studio, so technically Mario is French. New wave animation.
It's a new wave French anime cyberpunk experience.
Give us the French cut. The French cut actually. So this is what I heard, and take it with a grain of salt. But I hear all the rumors. I hear the French cut has a lot of gay sex. It's just like it's just like the Fast and Furious.
The debut of Gay Luigi from Hotel Mario comes in.
And Gay Bowser.
All right. And Gay Bowser. All right, it's over. I'm done talking about Mario. No more Mario. No more Nintendo for the next year.